Hey guys, today we're going to be platinum one of my favourite CODs that I used to play as a kid after school. We jump straight onto our first mission and we learn the ropes on how to become a ranger. There is a hidden trophy on this mission, which of course we missed. So we're going to have to come back to that one. But we make our way down into the pit, where we instantly grab ourselves a pistol and we pop Shepard in the head because we remember the OG. And honestly, I think it was everyone's first thoughts to do it. But we also get a nice little trophy for it. So then we go into the run and we finish our run, but we only get hardened, which for us isn't good enough. So now it's time to lock in. We end up getting veteran difficulty. But there are also 2 trophies that you can acquire in the pit. One of them is to beat the pit in 30 seconds, which we managed to smash on the time we get our veteran. But then there's also the hard part. There's another record which we have to beat. This took me so long to achieve. But after an hour of finally running the pit over and over, we managed to beat the record, to give ourselves the next trophy, and to give myself some fun muscles, because boy oh boy after that. We then wake up to General Shepard throwing us straight into the front lines, where we straight away grab our next trophy, which is called Free Song, where you have to kill 3 enemies with 1 noob tube grenade. And yeah, that just happened firing across the water. We then get our next trophy slightly after, for 2 birds 1 stone, where you gotta kill 2 enemies with 1 bullet. We carry on and we proceed through the mission in a Humvee until we get RPG shot at us, which takes us out of the Humvee and into a building. We also make our way through a school, which gets us another trophy for killing 5 different enemies with 5 different weapons in a row. We then finish the mission to unlock 2 trophies, one for beating the mission and the other one for beating it on veteran mode. The next mission is called Cliffhanger, and this is where we get introduced to Captain Soap McTavish. He gets us scaling a cliffside, where we get to a gap and we must jump it. But we don't quite make the jump, so we start to fall back down the mountain, but luckily enough he catches us. We then carry on through the mission until we have to split up and infiltrate the base on our own. And this is where you can also get another trophy. Exploring the base without killing anyone and without being spotted. It's called Ghost. After shortly searching the base, we find an enemy that is unaware. So that means we get our next trophy for killing an unaware target. I finally make it back to the fuel station. We stick a C4 up on the fueling station, and then we make our way back to Soap McTavish, who tells us to go find the ACS module upstairs. We go upstairs, but we then have to save Soap's life. So we use the C4 that we planted to cause a distraction, and we make a run for it. We make our way down this little slope, and we grab ourselves a snowmobile. And then we just buck it straight to the extraction zone to earn our next 2 trophies.
Bravo 6, we have you on visual. Get your ass on board. We're running on fumes here. Okay, they got the ACS. We're out of here.
The rest of Task Force 141 brought in the ACS, Alan.
And then I must stay in YouTube's good guides on this one, so unfortunately the no Russian controversy mission will be skipped. Let's just say big bangs in airport equals very bad time. After that mission and Private Allen is killed, we then move back to start playing as Roach, but this time we're in the favela and we're asked to chase down a bold man and shoot him in the back of the leg. Obviously, I enjoy shooting people. We then get tasked to fight our way through the slums with a lot of enemies that are ambushing us from everywhere. And this place, plus veteran difficulty, is equal to a giant mess with a lot of deaths. So after a lot of dying, screaming, and almost a controller snap, we finally made it through this mission. We move on to our next mission, Wolverines, where we play as Private Ramirez, who is a part of the Ranger Battalion, and he's just an awesome character. And it starts off with a massive amount of Russian forces parachuting down. We're running through the backyard, and we run ourselves into a BTR. We must pop down a load of smoke to cover ourselves, and we make our way up to Burger Town. We get up top, we set up the sentry gun. There's also a thermal sniper, and we use this to hold back the heavy Russian forces that are overrunning our position to try and take out this VIP. We then get told a Predator missile is being remotely activated, and we are tasked to take out the Russian foot soldier piloting this Pred in the restaurant. After eliminating them, we then use the Predator missile to take out the BTRs, and we also cover Sergeant Foley bringing the VIP across to Burger Town.
Confirmed kills. Nice work, Hunter 2-1. Keep these guys off of me, Hunter 2-1.
I received my next trophy for killing 10 enemies with one Predator missile. And then after holding waves and waves of enemies and attack helicopters, our extraction convoy finally comes in the nick of time to secure the VIP package and also rescue us, giving us our next trophy.
Good job. Out.
We're now back with Task Force 141, and we're fighting our way through the favela to escape this time. But in my head, I don't have a feeling that it's going to be that easy. And I was right. This mission almost sent me into therapy and caused me a lot of pain and a lot of deaths. This mission, I literally had to jump cover to cover and to take this mission very slowly. Once we get to the market, you guessed it, another missable trophy, and you guessed it, we missed it again. Yeah, I know, I suck. But anyway, back to the story. We finally make it to the extraction zone, but it's too hot for Nikolai to land. So it means he has to move to the secondary extraction zone. We finally get onto the rooftops, and after jumping from rooftop to rooftop, we slip and we fall. Back down to the streets, which can only mean one thing. A solo run. Once I fell, I must have turned into Usain Bolt, because boy oh boy, I ran for my life, and I was Speedy Gonzalez. We finally make our way down to the part where the helicopter comes up and we are able to jump to the ladder. Which then jumps us straight into the next mission, following the Ranger Battalion again. We're following a honey badger down the street and taking out all the enemy forces that are trying to hold us off, because we're tasked with taking out 2 artillery guns a bit further on in this mission. This is where we receive our next trophy for using the targeter to command the honey badger to eliminate 80 enemy targets. I destroy the targets, and then General Shepard obviously tells us over the comm that we have a new objective. So we've taken out the turrets, and now we have to rescue a VIP, where we make our way to his house. I potato this guy with my grenade launcher, because I thought, why not? But we make it to the safe room, and unfortunately, the VIP has been dead for some time. Our next mission involves us moving to an oil rig, exiting through a submarine, which was a very cool concept, and I really enjoyed it. And we make our way up into the oil rig until we get to our first breach door. And obviously we breach the door, and this is where we get another trophy for killing 4 enemies in slow motion. We make our way to the second breaching section, and same again, we breach, we finish off the enemies, we clean house. After exfilling the civilians that are in there, we set up our new little friends that are following us. We set up some explosives. We hide them under the bodies, and we hide in plain sight so that we are not spotted, and we use the C4 to take out a big punch of enemies. We make our way to the last batch of hostages, we breach the door, we secure the area, and we make our way to the chopper that's just landed for us, which then ends up taking us to the gulag to rescue prisoner 627. And once this chopper lands, I try and push my way into the prison and realise it wasn't going to be that easy. But nevertheless, I was not going to quit. I made my way into the prison, and this prison is ancient. We make our way into the armory. I grab myself a riot shield, holding off endless fire while Ghost gets the door open. We then get the next trophy for bashing an enemy to death with a riot shield as soon as we leave the armory. I also find the 22nd bit of intel throughout this game, which gets me another trophy. And then after a long fight in this prison, we get to the breaching location and we breach through the wall. But we also see a familiar face. It was a familiar face beating off a guard, and he knocks us out. And this is where we find out that it is none other than Captain Price.
Drop it! So... Price?
We then exit the gulag through a broken hole all the way up through the ceiling, which then earns us another 2 trophies. The next mission, we start running towards a fortified building as it's under Russian forces control. Ranger Battalion make their way through the building up till we reach the SAM turret. Obviously we have to take out the SAM turret. Cleaning out enemy forces, we use the C4 to destroy it. But then we're tasked with taking out a sniper's nest, which is holding down people's positions. So we run up through, clean out the nest, and I get my hands on the thermal sighted Barrett 50 cal. I clean out the enemies on the floor that are holding javelins.
We have secured the enemy crow's nest on the southwest.
Still vulnerable. Can you provide support from your position? Over.
We're sitting on a stand. Enemy munitions
And then we make our way to the rooftop. We sit on the minigun, on the helicopter, and then we go and just try and clean house a lot of enemies as we go. Unfortunately, we get shot down by a sound turret, and we wake up with cuts and everything just blocking us with no ammo. Sergeant Foley chucks us one mag, and we hold off as best we can. Let's just say it doesn't look good for us. The next mission is we go to Task Force 141 again, and we are having to intercept a nuclear submarine. Well, with this mission, we start off by going stealth with Captain Price through a snowy forest. We make our way through, we make it to the top of the ridge, we use a Predator missile, but it gets shot down by a SAM turret that's in the village. So we slide down, pick up some new guns, and use it to take out the SAM turret that's just lying in sight. Once we do that, our cover's blown, we make our way and we fight our way to the submarine, and we have to hold off as Price infiltrates the sub on his own. We see the missiles going off, but he seems to have launched one himself. We also acquire 2 trophies after completing these missions. The next mission, we end up in space, and we see the missile that Price has launched, and as it blows up outside the atmosphere, it sets off an EMP, which unfortunately destroys the space satellite that's out there, kills the astronaut, but it saves Sergeant Foley and all of Ranger Battalion, because it's just turned everything off. You've got helicopters falling out of the sky, enemies are distracted, the BTRs don't work anymore, everything's just dead. We make our way through a war-torn city while everything is so quiet. After fighting off a lot of enemies, we make our way down to the White House, which is overrun with a load of Russian forces, raining fire down on the ranges below. We have to make it across a bit of open land, which took a while, but we make it to the building, where we have to fight off more enemies. But we have to speed this one up now, because over the comms we hear there are jets coming to set off a load of explosives. So we make our way to the rooftop as quickly as we can, setting off the flares so they can abort the airstrike. We also receive another 2 trophies after completing these missions. We then move on to the mission Loose Ends. This mission, we start off by getting ambushed by Makarov's men in the forest. But after dealing with them, we make our way to his safe house. We then breach a bunch of doors, clear out the house, and we start to download the module.
Task Force, this is Price. More of Makarov's men just arrived at the boneyard. So, cover me.
Once the module's finished downloading, we then have to bucket to the extraction zone. So I decided to run my little legs off, and we make it all the way down to the extraction zone. And then all the flashbacks from this scene, from my childhood, swarmed over at me, and they all hit me again. But unfortunately, nothing has changed. But we do get ourselves another trophy.
Area is sanitized. All targets destroyed. Solid copy. No movement detected. 2-6 going into holding pattern.
This next mission has really tested my patience. Because doing this on veteran, it was just a 2-bullet death. And since there were so many enemies, it got really intense. But there was just death after death after death. And trying to make it through this boneyard was impossible. And we managed to drive it straight into Nikolai's plane, who then saved us. And we also escaped the boneyard. We pick up 2 trophies after that. Now, this is the last mission, and this was a fun mission. Just 2 lone soldiers taking on Shadow Company and going after General Shepard. We start off by being stealthy and taking out members one by one or in groups, and we stay hidden. We get our next trophy by shooting 2 enemies that are sliding down a road. Once we escape the cave that has been rigged up with explosives, we then see General Shepard, who escapes in a boat. We follow him, and luckily enough, there was 2 boats docked up.
Shepard mentioned Zodiacs. There must be river access nearby. Let's go.
We end up driving through open waters, avoiding helicopter fire, and chasing enemies down. But we finally get to the good part, where Price takes a steady shot at the helicopter, which then brings the helicopter down. It looks like Shepard wanted a 1v1 because he brought us to where everyone knows you settle your 1v1 debts. Rust. But unfortunately, we failed the 1v1 and we got stabbed. And it looked like it was the end of us. But our hero, Price, comes in and saves the day. And holds off long enough for us to pull out the knife from our chest. And hit a bullseye right in between Shepard's eyes, killing Shepard and saving the day. And that's it. That's the campaign beaten, and we get all the trophies for beating the campaign on all difficulties. So now all we got left to do, clean up. I managed to get my next trophy for completing a mission without reloading or using melee attacks. I carry on. After getting annoyed at a mission, I decided to take a break and go back to where it all started. The very first mission, where I decided to pick up the Barrett 50 cal, and I have to snipe 3 clowns across the map. Now they're scattered across the map, but they're quite easy to find. I managed to do it, and there goes our next trophy. I then decided to go back to Cliffhanger to try the Ghost trophy.
No kills, no lefts. Impressive.
We move forward with our next trophy, which is Headbanger. But in the same mission, also able to finish off both BTRs without using the Predator missile, which would get me another trophy. And we get to the next trophy in question, Colonel Sanders. I get to the last intel, which is also the same mission that I needed for this missable trophy, which is to blow a helicopter up with a grenade.
Firing missile. Nice shot, Roach.
While battling through the gulag, we also get another missable trophy.
Got a visual.
There's a pattern here, I think. Don't you agree? But we get this missable trophy for getting 10 kills in a row with akimbo weapons. The next trophy, Bird Hunter, is to defeat 10 helicopters in this mission. Now this was a tough one, but we finally managed to get it. We sprint ahead, past Price, and we don't use the Predator missile, so it never gets shot down, which is the next trophy on our list. We also get this trophy for killing 11 enemies with 11 claymores. And then after speedrunning the campaign and completing it, we get the Immortal trophy, and then we use our final mission on the boat to get us the drive-by trophy. Now the final trophy that we need, not from the campaign, is to push both red buttons, get the platinum as well. This was such a good remaster for a game, and I had so much fun, with a hint of little bit of rage, but overall it was a great time. I loved the OG MW2 game, and my rating for this remaster I'm going to have to be and give it an 8.5 out of 10. The easiest trophy I found was back in the set for just training the militia. And the hardest trophy in the game is just got to be the veteran. This game really, you know, it just makes you improve. So thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed, peace.